and welcome to part 2 of my Devon and Cornwall trip. If you haven't seen part 1, I will share a link below, so please go check that video out, and I hope you enjoy. Today we're spending the day in South Devon. So at the moment we're at a place called Mamhead Woods, which is just outside of Exeter. It's a Forestry England reserve. It's beautiful here, and we thought we'd take Pan for a nice early morning walk to get him nice and tired out. And then I'm going to head to the Torbay area to see if I can get some snorkeling in. Hopefully the weather stays kind for that. And then finally we thought we might head to a place called Berry Head, which has incredible views over the bay area. It would be great if we could spot some wildlife out there, but we'll keep our fingers crossed. So this is where we've come to go snorkeling. It's a place called Anstey's Cove, which isn't far from Torquay. You could see that people use the cove for all sorts of things. They were doing, I think, coast steering or something, jumping off the cliffs into the water. It's Pebble Beach. Does have a little cafe, and they have a place to inflate your paddleboard. So I could imagine this is a great place to go paddleboarding. The cafe does fabulous hot chocolate. There's loads of rocks to explore if you're into rock pooling. And it's just a lovely, view of the world to sit there with a hot chocolate and look out over the cove. It's beautiful. It's very calm. Here I am heading out with my lovely, great inflatable buoy that makes me look like I've got a really dodgy tail to go snorkeling. Because I go out by myself most of the time, I like to keep the buoy on me just to make sure I'm very visible. The water temperature was incredible. I definitely did not need my wetsuit for this, and it was just so great to be down in Devon on a nice day and get to be in the sea. Pan wasn't that pleased with me going in the water. He gets a little bit upset when I go in. Stands on the edge of the tide line and barks at me sometimes, but it was a lovely day snorkeling. So you can see now that Pan's starting to get a bit antsy, so came out of the water, dried off, had a hot chocolate and headed around the coast a bit to Berry Head. This is an RSPB nature reserve, and it's a bit of a peninsula into the sea, so you get really great views all the way around, and it's supposed to be a really fantastic place to spot wildlife, particularly marine wildlife. I was really interested in trying to see either whales, dolphins, basking sharks would have been incredible. Spoiler alert, I did not see any of those things, but it was beautiful to walk around, and there was so much wildlife anyway. There was loads of birds and insects in the wildflower meadows, and the afternoon was redeemed by the fact that they have a really lovely cafe there serving cream tea. So you could not come to Devon and not have a cream tea. I obviously did the taste tests, one with the jam first and then the cream, and one with the cream first and then the jam. To be honest, I will take my cream tea any way you can give it to me. I think it's a little bit easier to do the jam first and dollop the cream on, but I am happy either way. I'm not going to show favouritism. And it was a lovely way to just finish off the afternoon. And then we headed back to our Airbnb with our friends, ready to explore some more the next day. The next day, we headed to the Tall Trees Trail in Devon. That's really hard to say. Try saying that 3 times faster. It's basically a woodland where there are various very tall trees. So they have the tallest tree in England, they have the tallest magnolia tree in England. Again, just a beautiful, lovely woodland to walk around. It was nice and shady. It was very hot on this day, and it was good to find a place that we could take Pan for a walk, and he wouldn't be in the sunshine, so that was great. I got to hug a few trees, and it was just a lovely place to be. Highly recommend if you are in the area.
Look at me with amaze.
Once we felt like we'd fully explored the tall trees, we went just a little bit down the road to a place called Tar Steps, which is a local nature reserve. It's a bridge over the river basically, but it's a lovely place to have this circular walk where you walk down either side of the river. The only thing I would say about this is I came home and I was covered in horsefly bites. I hadn't actually noticed at the time, but there are so many of them. But again, it's quite a nice, mostly flat walk along the river. It's nice and cool because it's shady and you're by the water. It's a really, really nice place to go, and I would recommend it. Just put your fly spray on. Also, if you're there in the summer, there is a ice cream van at the sort of right by the bridge, and they do this incredible stem ginger ice cream. Would recommend to a friend. Speaking of horseflies, the next day I booked myself this 3-hour horse riding trek across Exmoor. I grew up riding, and I try to go on pretty much every holiday I ever go on. This was a lovely trek. We all had these like lovely chunky horses. You walked through Exmoor and around the coast. We had some good gallops. At one point we got stuck because we couldn't get past some cows in a field. And again, we were absolutely covered in horseflies. I spent the whole time just trying to swat them away and swat them off my horse. But look at these views. It was definitely worth it. So for our final day of this trip, we actually headed out of Devon into Cornwall, and we wanted to pack as much as we possibly could into the one day. So we stopped for breakfast at the Jamaica Inn, famous from literature, on Bodmin Moor, and then we headed around to, I don't know how to pronounce this time, Marazion maybe, but it's kind of the closest bit of the mainland to St Michael's Mount, which you're looking at now. You can walk all the way to there from the mainland if it's low tide, and it's beautiful. I actually prioritise just rock pooling because it's one of my favourite things to do, and letting Pan have a run around on the beach, and then heading into the town for the absolute best Cornish pasty I have ever had. It's from a place called Philps, and it was so peppery and delicious. I really need to learn how to make a good Cornish pasty, so if anybody has any recipes, please send them my way because I'm going to be making that pretty soon. Now, despite the fact that I literally ate that whole pasty, we then pretty much walked straight into a cafe, and I had another cream tea. I don't know, you have your dessert stomach, it's different. I had to test whether cream tea was different in Cornwall, and I can confirm it was also very good. Now that we were properly fueled, we headed around the coast a little bit more to Land's End, which is, I don't know, a bit touristy for my taste, but it was beautiful views, and it was actually really cool to go because we had been up to Donegroats in February this year, so it was cool to feel like we'd travelled the length of the UK in the space of a few months. So worth the stop if you're there, I think. But the water was so tempting that I was desperate to go for a swim. You can't swim there, so we headed to Port Cosno Beach. Look at this beach. It's gorgeous. Look at that water. It looks like the Bahamas. So I immediately had to just get in the water and swim. How could you not? Again, Pan stood at the tide line and just barked at me for 20 minutes until I got out, but it was still a good day. So our final stop was to Padstow for Rick Stein's fish and chips, which was incredible. Look how happy I am about it. In fact, this whole trip has been great, and I hope you've enjoyed the videos. If you have, please like and subscribe, and I'll see you next time. Bye!